I'm Dorothy Souza. I believe in angels. Do you? Today we have a special guest, Brenda McGee, who is a paranormal expert. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, Dottie.
I was really grateful that you're here today, and I know that you do a lot of dealings with angels during your paranormal activities and whatnot. I also know that you're a Reiki master and a Theta practitioner, and also a delve in Shambhala also, right?
Yes.
Yes, so you have many talents. But what I want to ask you right now is if you could possibly tell us something about the angels and how you incorporate them in your paranormal activities that you do.
Sure. Actually, I incorporate every day the angels. It's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is call on my angels and ask them to please protect me through the day and give me the strength. And you get this uplifting feeling right when you call them in. Also, we incorporate that on our paranormal team where we actually, before we even start, we get in a circle, we call on our angels, our guides, we call on, Archangel Michael and Metatron to protect us as we go in. And then when we leave, we do the same thing. And then what we do is we surround the house and everything with angels also to protect when we leave there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Can you tell us some stories of your in your dealings with the paranormal and also with the angels, if they've helped you? Or
Sure. We had this one case that we went to, and they were having some activity, and they didn't feel that it was a positive activity. So we had gone in, and, sometimes people see angels in a different way. Sometimes they're flicks of light, which some people think, oh, it's like a flash of a camera, or it could be a reflection on a mirror or something. But it's actually, you can see them. It's like a flash of light. But one night I had an experience where when I woke up, because I do see spirit and I can communicate, I woke up because I felt a presence in my bedroom. And I was like, okay, are you of God's light? And it was like, yeah, no, which happens, but I wasn't scared. So I started doing my prayers and I called on an angel. Now, my husband's sound asleep. He hears nothing. And all of a sudden, the bedroom was filled with this light that was so blinding and it was so beautiful. It was just lit up the whole room, and all I could see was these gigantic angel wings. And it just swooped up and took the entity or whatever you want to call it, spirit, shadow person, and brought it right out of the bedroom. I will never, ever forget that experience. And my husband, I don't even know how he didn't even wake up because it was that bright where I couldn't even really look because it was so bright. That was one instance that I had. Another one I had was we were in Boston and we were doing a ghost walk. I was with one of the persons on the team, and we were with the kids. And we were walking. After you had done the ghost walk, they left you there and you had to pretty much find your way back. Well, we're going through these alleys and I'm getting nervous because here I have my nephew, Brandon, and he has his daughter, and I didn't want to let them know because, I'm a paranormal expert. I'm a tough guy. So I started calling in the angels to protect us while we're walking through this alley because there were people sleeping on the sides, which was very sad, but I got really nervous. All of a sudden, my friend Derek looks at me and he goes, "What did you do?" And I'm like, "What? What do you mean?" And he's like, "There is a humongous angel right there." And I said, I didn't want you to know that I was a little nervous. I said, but I called them in. And he's like, he still says to this day, I will never forget the angel that showed up when you started praying. So it's, I always tell people, you're not bothering them. That's what they're there for. Call on them for anything. I do, sometimes I was that type of person, though. I'm not going to call on them. And then all of a sudden, my husband had to be sent out of state for work, and now I had to take care of the home and things like that. And one day the power went out, and I couldn't figure out why, what happened? That's when we had all that snow that one year, a couple years ago. And I started saying, angels, please help me. I don't know what to do. And I heard outside of the house is a plug. Push the button. And I did, and that's all it took. So I do believe in angels, and I call on them every day.
Now, I've heard from many people that you are a very honest paranormal investigator.
Yes.
You go into a place and there isn't anything, you will say that.
Definitely.
You're not the type that will create something that's not there. And I've heard that you've helped a lot of children, too.
Yes.
And that you've actually had them work with angels to actually feel better and to get rid of whatever was in the home.
Right.
Have any of the children's... have you had any stories of the children and how you had them connect with angels as far as your work goes?
I do, because the children are the most innocent, so they see a lot more. And the parents, some of them believe them and some of them don't. Before I even go into a home, I talk to them on the phone. I tell them, you need to call in your angels, whoever you believe in, religious-wise. You need to call on them and just ask them to protect the home and things like that. If they feel that it's not working or whatever, then I go in and I check everything out. Like the children, it's funny because I have this connection with them. Yeah. And they will open up and the parents will be like, I never heard them, say that this was happening and things like that. So I'll sit with them on the floor and I'll say, tell me what's going on. But the first thing I do is the closet. I'll shut the closet door and they'll look at me and they'll go, you see them? And I'm like, yes, and I'm going to help you. And the first thing I do is tell them about the angels, call in your angel, and teach them how to do that to make them feel that there is something, out there that can protect them when I'm not there. And then we'll clear, and we do it with working with, everything is done with the angels, the archangels, and whatever people's beliefs are spiritually wise. And we've had so many cases where the children are really afraid, but if you go in there and you talk to them, it's almost like they trust someone else from the outside. And people always told me, like, children will walk up to me and they won't even know me, and they'll say, I see ghosts. And I'll say to them, I believe you. And it's just something that they need to know, that there is something out there that can help them, and it's not all scary things.
Right. Yeah, so many children are so frustrated because they will tell the adults, and they say, oh, it's okay, get over it. And back in the day, in the olden days, they would say, oh, there's nothing under the bed, there's nothing in the closet. And now you find that there is actually sometimes something actually there. And it's so sad that they're trying to relate this to the parents.
Right.
I have heard of parents who have actively tried to help the children with this, and that's a good thing.
That is.
So I think that they should learn to listen to their children. And for someone like you who goes in, you'll be able to tell the parent, yes, there is something, or no, it's something else.
Right.
And that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
That is something that we all need to have. Be aware of.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are really seeing that, there is a lot, out there, and that
Right.
they can believe in it. And if we can just get more people to know, and that's what I do. I teach them to take ownership of the home. That this is, you can do this. It doesn't take someone like me. So the first thing I do is, tell them that way and ask, do you believe in the angels? Do you believe in, and it's funny, a lot of people, the first thing they'll say is, well, I believe in Archangel Michael, because
Yes.
everybody knows that that's an angel of protection.
Right.
But what people need to know is we're born with a guardian angel that goes through life since we're born. They hold us before, we go down to our parents. So it's amazing. And sometimes I tell people, you don't have to see them, but you can feel them. If you ask an angel, can you please surround me with your wings? I'll sometimes feel the fluttering of wings. I will see people that are in human form. I can see their wings. Earth angels. we do have earth angels. I mean, I see them all the time, and it's funny because it's usually like a spiritual person or someone. It doesn't have to be. And I'll walk up to them and I'll say, I need to fix your wings. And they'll look at me and I'll just fix their wings. And they're like, you know, and then you get the experiences like people will walk in and their clothes are tattered and things like that. At church one Sunday, and he came in and I've never seen him before, and he sat in my chair and I started doing Reiki on him, and I'm getting flashes of all these things, like seeing him, you know, I was like, maybe this is just, you know, they're showing me things and pictures. But when I was done, he thanked me, and I actually got very emotional, and then at the end he just disappeared. I didn't see him leave, and I never saw him again. So I believe they're in human form also, but it's like they come and they want you to validate, you know, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
That's awesome. What started or what precipitated you going into the paranormal?
Well, I started seeing spirit when I was about 12 years old. So I knew there was something out there. And then, of course, you know, when you get older, you're watching these paranormal shows and things like that, and you're like, wow, I would really love to do that. And I had experiences through life that were both very scary for me and things like that. So I said, you know, I really need to find out what this is all about. So then I had met someone, and they said, well, you know, there's a paranormal team that is looking for investigators. So I had gone on an interview, and, you know, I talked with them, and then that's how I started. And then I did that for a little while, and then I'm like, well, you know what? I want to do things differently and the way that I want to do them. So then I started my team, and we're just a great group of people that are so connected, and that's important.
Well, also with your team, I've heard that you go in, and if there is something there, then you cleanse the house.
We do.
Whereas you don't just go in there and say, oh yeah, you do have something, and then walk out. I've also heard that you do not antagonize them.
Never.
Or you know, joke around or anything like that. That you're very professional. You are in tune with not only the family that's there, but I also have heard that you're in tune with the entities that are there.
Yes, and that's what I tell them when I go in there. We're not there only to help the family, we're there to help the spirit. And if the spirit wants to be crossed, we cross them. And, you know, because they, like I say, we're there for both of them. And a lot of paranormal teams don't do that. And a lot of paranormal teams go in there, they provoke, and it's so disrespectful to the spirit, because even though they're in spirit, you still show them respect. And it's funny because I've done classes on the paranormal and things like that. And all the people that come love the paranormal shows. Oh, yeah. And they'll say to me, because I do go over evidence and show them from cases that we have, and they're like, these professional paranormal teams that are on TV don't have half of the evidence that you get. It's because when I go in, I say to the spirit, thank you for allowing me to be here. If there's a story that you need to tell, you know, you can tell it on the recorder. We're not here to harm you in any way, and we thank you for allowing us to be here. And you would not believe how many spirits want to talk. And some of them don't know and are afraid because they don't know what's on the other side. So they choose to stay earthbound. It's not a bad thing. It's not because they're being punished. Right. It's because they're scared to go into the light. So we tell them, your family's been waiting for a while. Don't you want to be with your family? And then we will cross them.
That's amazing. And it's nice that you show them gratitude.
Yes. Even when we leave, you know, it's we show gratitude, we thank them, and, you know, because you can't go in there, rile them up. You're in their space. And, you know, and if it is something negative or anything like that, then we will send them up to heaven where they belong.
Good.
So it's not like we leave anybody and
dangling.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think I want anyone
exactly.
dangling
But it's funny
home.
because some people will say, I enjoy them being here. I just wanted to know who was here. So that's what we do.
Any specific investigation that you went on that was the best that you had ever been, or there's something special that had been transposed during that time?
I would have to say, I've been on so many, but there was this one place that we had gone to, and there were actually, like they were having issues, and they would hear children and things like that. But one, we had gone, far away, and we had gone there. Actually, it wasn't a case. It was like the number one most haunted place in Massachusetts, and we were able to get in there with just the team. It was this mansion. It was amazing. That was probably the most amazing thing that we've ever did, and that was a slew of all different types of spirits, but also angelic that we saw there also. I can't even describe, like when we're crossing the spirit into the light, I can't even describe the amazing, what I see when they're crossing and things like that. It's amazing. Even when I do Reiki or even Shambhala, or when I'm doing Theta, I always say, even in Reiki, like when you call in the angels, when you're doing the healings, and you can feel them, I can see them, and you don't want to leave that, you know what I mean? And then it's back to reality when you open your eyes. But I really would love for people to know, they are out there. If you're feeling alone, call on them. Let them know, that you want them to be there. They're going to be there, and there's more than one for everyone. That's what their main purpose is to be there for you and for you to be comforted by them.
Yes. So many people are afraid to call them. They're saying, well, they're probably busy at someone else's house, or...
They do.
They
do. And like when you talk with people, when you do the angel meets and things like that, it's amazing when people go in there, and then when they leave there, they're like, oh my gosh, I had this experience and things like that. It's amazing. It really is. Once you tell, it's almost like we have to tell them that they're real because they trust us. Mm-hmm. It's like the most amazing feeling when they're like, oh my gosh, I had this experience and I felt them. Because some people want to see them, but sometimes you can't, but you can feel them. I always tell them, if you ask them that you want to feel their wings around you, you will feel something. Yeah. They will do that.
I know during the angel meets, during the meditation, sometimes I feel them coming out of the walls, coming and hugging the people that are there.
Right.
And it feels so good because you can sense it, or you can feel it, and sometimes you can see it. But you can't say, well, I've got to see that angel now. I can't, I don't know for sure if that angel is protecting me because I don't see that physical form.
Right.
But it's not like that. It's a belief system too.
It is, and I tell everybody, it's as easy as calling them in.
Yeah.
And it's an instant. Like when I always tell my angel, can you please stand behind me, put your hands on my shoulders and surround me with your wings and protect me for the day, or, whatever. Just, I want you to know they're there. It's as easy as that. And people are starting to really do that. And if, it's a trusting thing. And I tell them, even when we do the Reiki shares and things like that, we hold hands and we play the song Calling All Angels, and you can feel them just coming in.
Yep.
They want to be a part of your life.
Yeah.
And they want you to believe in them.
Yeah, and once you do believe and once you do call them, your life really changes.
It really does.
It becomes more serene. It is a miracle in itself, but it's totally something that is needed to be done. But
well, I was so honored when you asked me to be here, because just the name alone, Calling All Angels, I mean, it's really going to put it out there that, you need, they are there. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a story. Even if they don't, have an extravagant story or anything like that, it's like they like to share the experiences. And no, you're not crazy if you think you see them.
I know. Well, we had, we do have a not a website, an email. It's called Calling All Angels 444 at yahoo.com. For those people that have experiences, whether they're small or large, that they can ask questions or even even being asked to come here, for something that they feel comfortable with. But they also can contact you through this Calling All Angels 444, and because you do really awesome work.
Thank you.
You're honest, you're precise, you go in, you do what you need to do, and it's selfless.
Well, I really feel it's part of my spiritual path, because this is, what we need to do. We need to let people know, there is good. There is something there, and if we can, get that out there and people can believe in it, it just makes the world a better place. You don't have to feel alone when you're alone and things like that. And it's just asking them to come. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's just wonderful protection. If you see someone coming at you that you don't feel comfortable with, you're just calling those angels in. It's like a protective barrier.
Right.
And
I always tell people, you don't have to be gifted. You don't have to, be, a healer or anything like that.
Exactly.
You don't have to be anything like that. If you ask, they're there instantly.
Exactly. And they're non-denominational. They go through
Exactly.
all religions. They are there for everyone.
I always tell, people when I know they're traveling on a plane or in a car, I'll say, just surround your vehicle with the angels. I said, even I'm terrified of flying. But when I first get into that plane, I'll say, angels, please surround me. And I visualize them even on the wings. And I can actually get a calming sensation. I ask them to please, wrap their wings around me and make the plane look bigger than it is. And I get this calming feeling, and then I'm okay. And it's that quick.
It is amazing. If you had to tell our viewers one thing about the paranormal, what do you think you would say?
When people think of the paranormal, they have to think of the most scariest things and why is this spirit here? Why is my relative here, and things like that. And I always tell them, they might want to be in the home that they, passed in. Maybe that's where they were most happiest. You do have a choice. I mean, you can go back and forth. It's not that you've done anything bad. If you're going into an old home, I always say, if you treat them with respect and say, I'm going to do renovations, I hope you like them, and it's like you ask permission, and it's that easy, just to let them know that it's not, paranormal is not scary. And if you do have activity, it's nothing that you did or anything like that. It's maybe you moved something or, took something down, and all of a sudden you'll start feeling activity that way. But it's nothing that you need to really fear. And if you do, please know you don't have to leave that home. Everything can be fixed. Everything can be crossed over and things like that. You don't have to think when it comes to the paranormal that it's all scary. And it is not a joke either. You get these people that, watch the TV show and then they say, oh, well, I can do that too. And it's like, no, you really have to be educated and know the good things and the bad things to do and how to open and close. And, the worst thing is the Ouija board.
Oh.
That is like the worst thing you can do or bring into your home. And then they make a movie out of it right around the time. And then kids are like, wow, if it's being sold in a toy store, which I don't understand that.
Yes.
But, why can't we do that? And that's a lot of my calls.
Yeah, because a lot of the children are opening portals
Exactly.
that they don't even understand.
They don't understand this, and I do I'm starting to do a free paranormal where people can come in if they have a story, if they want to talk. It's going to, they can go to your website and find out more about that, where it's a free talk, where I can educate them and let them know, if you're thinking of doing this, here's the right way to do it.
Yeah, the parents need to really know that these Ouija boards are very dangerous. They're not a toy.
Right.
And they can bring in a lot of spirits, good, bad, or ugly, but they need to know that this is... And they just can't take the Ouija board and just throw it out.
Right.
Right?
Right.
They have to do something special before they get rid of it.
Exactly. Even, just bringing antiques and artifacts, you would never think.
Yeah.
that could do something, but
Right.
yeah, it can.
Now, what is the safest way to get rid of a Ouija board? Is it burning or?
I always tell people to break it up into pieces and then bury it if they can. If they can't, just, you need to really break it up into pieces. And some people say burn it. I wouldn't recommend that, but if you feel safer doing that,
Okay.
but just make sure you break the board up, because then you are not leaving it in its original form.
Good. Well, Brenda, thank you so much. It has been a joy having you here, and I'm sure that our audience has learned quite a bit. I really want to, again, thank you for doing what you're doing for other people.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for having me on as a guest.
Thank you. And if anyone, again, is interested in contacting us, it's callingallangels444 @yahoo.com.
Great.
And again, thank you.
Thank you.